Have you ever been disrespected so publicly, so blatantly, that for a split second your world stopped? Not just because it hurt, but because you couldn't believe they had the audacity. You froze, not out of fear, but because everything in you wanted to react, to explode, to prove yourself. But you didn't. And then you went home, sat in silence, and replayed it in your mind 1,000 times. The stare, the smirk, the silence in the room, the fact you didn't respond. That's the moment that haunts most men. And if you're honest, it's probably haunted you. But it won't anymore. Because this isn't just a video, it's the switch you've been waiting to flip. Comment, "I take the power back," if you're done letting people control your narrative. Disrespect doesn't kill a man. It reveals him. What you do in public when someone throws shade, mocks you, tries to clown you, that's your character exposed. Not when you're calm, not when you're in your room scripting comebacks. Right there, when the whole world watches. That moment decides if you're respected or remembered as weak. And it doesn't matter if it's a woman pretending not to care or a fake friend subtly mocking you. Most people will test your boundary to see if you have any. Today, I'm giving you the blueprint. To flip that disrespect, to take back control, to walk out of that moment not humiliated, but completely on top of the situation every single time. Number 1. Pause. Don't react. When someone disrespects you in public, especially when people are watching, your first reaction is to defend yourself immediately, to protect your pride, to salvage your image, to not look like a fool in front of a crowd that may include strangers, peers, co-workers, or even someone you're trying to impress. In that moment, every fiber in your body screams to respond, to shoot back with words, to challenge the disrespect with energy equal to or greater than what you just received. But here's the problem most men don't realize. When you react instantly to disrespect, especially in public, you're giving away the one thing you should always protect, your power. That moment might feel like it's about pride, but it's actually about self-control. And self-control is the currency of true dominance. Any fool can explode, but very few can absorb a hit with composure, stand their ground, and calculate in real time what move gives them long-term control, not just temporary satisfaction. You need to condition yourself to pause, to breathe, and to assess, not because you're weak, but because you understand that whoever speaks first, without clarity, usually loses. The man who pauses becomes unreadable. People around you begin to question your silence. Is he planning something? Is he offended? Is he calm because he's above this? That mystery is powerful, but you only earn it by mastering the initial urge to fire back. Picture this. Someone calls you out in front of others, hoping to provoke you. Instead of responding, you look at them, calm, blank, unreadable. That one pause creates tension. The air becomes heavy, because they were expecting a reaction and you gave them nothing. That throws people off. That's control. And control is what separates strong men from the weak. It's the ability to remain composed under fire, not because you're suppressing rage, but because you've trained yourself to see 10 steps ahead. You're not trying to win that moment. You're focused on something better. Every time you resist the urge to retaliate, you prove to yourself that you're no longer emotionally enslaved. And the truth is, most people who disrespect you are testing if you'll dance. When you don't, they have nothing. Start conditioning yourself with small exercises. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic, don't react. The next time someone makes a slick remark in a meeting, look at them, then look away. The next time someone disrespects you in your circle, mentally note it, but don't flinch. This isn't about being passive. It's about being a man who decides when and how he acts, not someone who is manipulated by every jab. Power is presence, and the most powerful presence is the one that doesn't dance for anyone's amusement. Number 2. Master the gaze. Most men think their words will save them in a heated moment, but they forget that the eyes speak louder. If you want to dominate a situation, especially when someone disrespects you in public, you don't start with a shout or a gesture. You start with your stare. Your gaze has to become a statement, a wall, a message in itself. The moment someone tries to undermine you publicly, they are waiting for your voice to crack, for your hands to shake, for your facial expression to betray what you're feeling inside. But if your eyes remain locked, calm, unflinching, you break them before they even begin to celebrate. You can say nothing, yet say everything with your gaze. And mastering that look, disconnected from emotion, rooted in strength, makes you untouchable. Have you ever been around someone whose eye contact felt like gravity? That wasn't a mistake. That was awareness. That was deliberate. Most people avoid eye contact when they feel exposed or challenged. But the man who maintains his gaze sends a signal to everyone watching. I'm not shaken. You want people to feel your presence before you speak. Your stare should carry weight. And the only way to develop this is by practicing, not just looking, but seeing. Seeing through distractions, seeing through manipulation, seeing people's intent. Next time someone tests you, don't just look at them. Observe their posture, their hesitation, their eyes flickering for validation. Hold your gaze not as a challenge, but as a refusal to entertain their performance. It'll rattle them more than words ever could. Start building this today. Practice during conversations. Lock eyes when speaking, when listening. Don't blink excessively. Don't shift your weight. This isn't about intimidation. It's about presence. And the man with the strongest presence controls the room without needing to control people. Your eyes should remind everyone that you don't bluff, you don't chase approval, and you don't lose yourself in the chaos of confrontation. Most men never train this. They look down, look away, smile nervously, and people feel it. Don't be that man. Be the one whose stare isn't aggressive, but immovable, calm, confident, still. Because when people see that you're not visually fazed by pressure, they think twice before disrespecting you again. And that's what mastering the gaze is about. Unspoken respect. This level of inner control, where your gaze remains calm and steady even when everything around you demands a reaction, is exactly the kind of unshakable presence we break down inside the Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook. It's not just about how to handle disrespect. It's about transforming how you lead every connection in your life, with clarity, strength, and authority. If you're serious about mastering these principles and becoming a man who commands respect without saying a word, the full blueprint is waiting for you in the description. Grab it today and completely transform your life. Number 3, call out with precision. When it's time to speak, your words should be few, but carry the weight of 1,000 thoughts. Most men make the mistake of over-explaining themselves, of trying to win a crowd through loudness, through speed, through emotion. But in reality, when someone disrespects you publicly, the most surgical way to respond is with deliberate, minimal words that cut through noise like a razor, cold, clear, and undeniable. The power lies not in how loud you are, but in how much silence follows your words. The man who knows what to say and how to say it only once controls the entire room. You want to stun people? Speak with precision. One sentence. No fluff, no escalation. Just truth. For example, when someone mocks you in front of others, trying to make a joke at your expense, you don't bark back. You say, "I'm not here to entertain you," and leave it there. That phrase ends the game. No rebuttal, no battle. The moment you speak and then go quiet, you take all the energy away from their momentum. They're scrambling now. Their rhythm is broken. The crowd that was chuckling is now watching for your next move. and you don't give them one. This is how you dominate with words. Think of every response as a sniper shot, not a machine gun. Each sentence you drop must be intentional, with the precision of a chess grandmaster, not a brawler swinging wildly. And to get to that level, you must train your mind to love stillness, to find strength in speaking slowly and clearly, to release the need for validation. Because most men talk too much because they fear the silence after a bold statement. But you embrace it. You let your truth land, and you sit in it. You don't try to sweeten it. You don't repeat it. You let them chew on it. And while they do, you've already moved on mentally. Precision means you never explain yourself to someone who didn't ask with respect. It means you speak when it serves your purpose, not your ego. And if they try to bait you into saying more, smile once and say nothing else. That alone will eat at them more than any paragraph could. Practice speaking less in everyday interactions. Next time someone gossips or challenges your view, don't feel the need to justify. Say what you believe. Once, clean, strong, walk away. The world starts to see that you're not just another voice trying to be heard. You're a presence that doesn't need noise, and that's when they start listening, even when you're silent. Number 4. Don't just walk away, dominate the exit. Walking away isn't weakness when it's done right. It's the most intimidating move you can make if your presence on exit says more than your words ever could. After someone disrespects you in front of others, your next step speaks volumes. Will you storm off looking triggered, or will you leave the moment looking like the moment wasn't even big enough to hold your time or energy? Because how you walk away reveals if you're in control, or if you're just retreating to protect your ego. When you walk away slowly, confidently, with your shoulders squared and head high, you turn your back not out of fear, but out of priority. You're signaling to the room that what just happened doesn't even deserve your full emotional bandwidth. That's terrifying to people who thrive on reaction. Think about it. If someone throws shade at you and you respond with calm movement, steady pace, no final words, just a glance and a turn, they suddenly realize they didn't get what they wanted. The disrespect was a test, and you didn't play. That makes them look desperate. This is how you build an aura. You don't always need a mic drop. Sometimes the drop is in how you exit, how your posture speaks louder than 100 insults. And this applies to every area of life. Relationships, business, friendships. If someone crosses your line and expects drama, you leaving without a scene is the drama. You withdrawing without closure is the lesson. You exiting without proving your point is the loudest point you can make. Train this by practicing exits. When you're in a conversation that turns disrespectful, don't argue. Breathe, listen, pause, and then stand. Leave. Let them call you dramatic. Let them misunderstand. You're not here for their understanding. You're here for your peace. Every man should master the art of leaving, not fleeing. Leaving with dignity, with purpose, and most importantly, with peace. When you stop seeing exits as loss and start viewing them as power moves, everything changes. You realize that keeping your energy is more valuable than winning verbal wars. You start to understand that the man who knows when to leave is the one who controls when and where his story continues. And you start to build a reputation. One where people think twice before playing games with you, not because you retaliate, but because you disappear. Quietly, cleanly, without a trace of need. That's power, that's control, and that's how you dominate the exit. Number 5. Burn the emotion, build the power. Disrespect doesn't end when the moment passes. It echoes inside your chest like a challenge you never answered. And what you do with that energy afterward is either what weakens you or shapes you into someone who becomes untouchable next time. Most men carry public humiliation like shame. They replay the moment, dissecting it from every angle, wondering what they could have said better, how they should have responded, and in doing that, they waste energy not realizing that emotion is not the enemy. It's the fuel for your transformation. What you felt in that moment, the sting, the fire, the rising heat inside your core, that's not weakness. That's your body telling you it's time to evolve. It's time to become stronger, smarter, sharper. Every insult that stings is a mirror showing you the areas where your pride isn't matched by your preparation. And instead of spiraling in self-doubt or bitterness, you take that emotional charge and you redirect it with precision into something productive, something real, something that gives you leverage the next time it happens. If you walked away feeling humiliated, don't sit with that feeling, train through it. If you felt verbally outmatched, study communication, learn calm assertiveness, emotional discipline, social control. If your posture looked uncertain, fix your body language in the mirror daily. If you sounded unsure, improve your vocal presence, clarity, and pacing. That's how a man builds unshakable presence, not through pride, but through repetition. You don't become the guy who can't be moved by disrespect because you're naturally gifted. You build it by turning every public failure into a private lesson. This is how you make pain useful. You convert that frustration into fuel, not with revenge, but with betterment. Start with small rituals. Every time someone irritates you, go work out. Every time someone tests your boundaries, write down how you'll respond next time. Every time someone tries to put you down, mentally rehearse a stronger version of yourself walking through that same moment, and then go become him. That's transformation, and you don't need an audience to validate that change. You become the man no one messes with, not because you're angry all the time, but because you've used every moment of vulnerability as a blueprint for power. This is not some abstract motivation. This is tactical evolution. Every ounce of emotion has a use, and when you stop letting it rule you and start channeling it, your life begins to change, quietly, consistently, and permanently. You go from being the guy who gets thrown off in public to the guy who controls the air in every room he walks into, not because he says the most, but because he's become the most focused, the most disciplined, the most impossible to unbalance. Burn the emotion. Use the ashes to build the next version of you. That's how men evolve. Number 6, act like nothing happened. Acting like nothing happened when someone tries to provoke or humiliate you in front of others isn't about playing it cool. It's about sending a message so loud through your indifference that they hear it even when you don't say a word, because nothing throws people off more than realizing their entire performance failed to shake your center. Most men think they need to visibly win the moment, but the ones who win long-term are the ones who move forward like the disrespect was beneath acknowledgement. This isn't fake calm. It's not passive aggressiveness. It's complete detachment from needing validation in the first place. Because once you understand that their disrespect is a mirror of their internal mess, not your worth, you no longer need to fight it. You just outgrow it. The moment they disrespect you publicly and you carry on like the moment never had weight, you force everyone watching to question what just happened. You trigger doubt in their mind. Did he not care? Did he not notice? Or is he so composed he doesn't need to engage? That doubt is powerful. It rewires the entire dynamic. Because in a world where everyone is addicted to attention, addicted to reactions, the man who stays still, who stays focused, who keeps moving like nothing touched him, becomes magnetic. They can't explain you. They can't predict you. And more importantly, they can't control you. Think about it. When you're tested and you respond with silence, with calm action, with continued focus on what matters to you, you remove their ability to script your behavior. You become the man who doesn't just walk away. You become the man who walks through the moment like it didn't register on your radar. That rattles people. especially those who rely on emotional chaos to feel in control. You deny them that fuel, and when they realize you can't be triggered by the usual tactics, they either shift or they shrink. Either way, you win. Practice this by deciding in advance what matters to you. Write down what behaviors you'll never give energy to. Decide now what kind of disrespect is unworthy of response. Build a code and live by it. When someone steps out of line, your lack of response isn't weakness, it's strategy. You've already decided, this isn't worth my time, my voice, my spirit. And when you live like that, people sense the standard. They stop testing you not because they fear your reaction, but because they see it doesn't exist. You don't need to clap back. You don't need to prove who you are. You just continue being who you are. Calm, composed, consistent. That's the ultimate dominance. Acting like nothing happened means you've mastered your reality. It means you don't lose energy proving your strength because your presence already proves it. That's how you command respect without demanding it. That's how you become unshakable. Number 7, set boundaries with no apologies. Setting boundaries is not about being confrontational. It's about finally deciding that your time, your energy, your dignity are no longer open to negotiation, especially with people who've shown you they don't know how to treat you with the respect you've earned. It's the final step in reclaiming your life, because until you create a line that no one can cross without consequences, you'll keep experiencing the same disrespect in different faces, different situations, different environments, wondering why your life feels like a cycle of tolerating what you hate. Boundaries are a declaration to yourself, first and foremost, that you are done explaining, done tolerating, done making space for those who disrespect your presence while benefiting from your silence. The truth is, most people don't change until your absence teaches them what your tolerance never could. And if you're constantly re-explaining your standards, you don't have boundaries, you have suggestions. Real boundaries don't need to be shouted, they're felt. They're built in how you respond when someone tests you, in how you no longer stay in conversations that insult your intelligence, in how you don't reply to messages that try to reopen doors you've already shut. And yes, people will call you cold, arrogant, distant, but that's what happens when you stop dancing for their comfort and start protecting your peace. The moment you stop tolerating nonsense, people either rise or disappear, and both are gifts. If someone you've given access to repeatedly disrespects that access, your response must be absolute. Not a conversation, a cutoff, not an explanation, a decision. You're not here to rehabilitate grown people who know exactly what they're doing. And boundaries are not for them. They're for you. They protect your energy, your momentum, your growth. Think of them like walls in a fortress, not to keep the world out, but to protect what's being built inside. You don't need everyone to like you. You need to live in a way that you like yourself. And no man who tolerates constant disrespect ever feels powerful. He may smile on the outside, but he erodes silently. So you set the line. You enforce it. You let your actions speak. When someone disrespects you in public and expects it to go unnoticed, your boundary is walking away and never returning. When someone laughs at you behind your back and expects forgiveness when confronted, your boundary is silence, not sympathy. When someone plays games with your time, your trust, your value, your boundary is removing the option of ever doing it again. And you don't make a show out of it. You just vanish, with peace, with clarity, with strength. Boundaries are not emotional, they are strategic. They're not about revenge, they're about revolution. Your life will only change when your standards do. And the world will only treat you with the level of respect you demand from yourself first. So stop explaining yourself to people who never cared to understand you in the first place. Stop holding space for people who only show up when it's convenient for them. Stop expecting change from the ones who are invested in your confusion. And start living like your energy is sacred, because it is. Set the boundary, enforce the boundary, and move forward, no apologies. If this message hit something deep in you, if you're done replaying moments of silence, done shrinking to keep the peace, done carrying the weight of disrespect, then this is your turning point. Comment, "No more disrespect," to lock that mindset into your core. Like the video and subscribe if you know this truth could save another man years of pain, confusion, and regret. Because what you just heard isn't mainstream, it's timeless. And if you're ready to take all of this even further, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men is waiting in the description. It's not just a read, it's a system for self-respect, self-control, and walking through every relationship in your life with strength and unshakable presence. You want peace? You want clarity? You want to never second-guess yourself again? Then don't wait. Grab it now. Master your world before someone else does.